If you're looking for some easy and fun DIY projects that are perfect for the spring season and will look absolutely spectacular in your home, then you're in the right place. These projects are very budget friendly from dollar stores or thrift stores. For this first project, I found 3 of these cute little wall pockets at the thrift store. They were in one of those baggies hanging against the wall. There was some other stuff in there too. I don't remember how much I paid for them, but they're metal. They're painted a beautiful shade of cream. And I'm going to be taking some of these Dollar Tree rub-on transfers and just adding them to all 3 of the pockets, just a little bit of a different design on each one. It was really quick and easy to do this, and they turned out so pretty. I don't have one of the proper tools that you're supposed to use for doing this, so I just grabbed a plastic knife and I'm using the end of it. I've also used a plastic ruler before for larger pieces, and I'm going to be using something metal in a little bit when I show you my next project. So you can basically use anything as long as it doesn't tear up the cover sheet. One thing I really love about rub-on transfers is that you can create your own design. You don't have to go by how it's placed on the paper, although you can do that if you like, but you can just cut apart all of the different pieces and create your own special look. I also put the rub-on transfers on this tea towel and hung it next to the little pockets. I think it looks so pretty. At the thrift store, I'm always on the lookout for wood shelves. Now, this one came like this, and it was supposed to be set like that. So the wood piece would be the shelf, and then there would be this decorative piece on the top. But I decided to turn things around a little bit. So I took it apart, and I'm still using the little scalloped edge as my bottom piece, but I had to turn around the top piece so the trim part would be in the right spot. I'm going to be putting this together with some of my Weldbond glue, and I'm going to use some hot glue as well just to have it set up a little bit quicker so I can continue working with it. Then I'll simply attach the 2 pieces together, making sure I have everything facing the right way and just give it some pressure to make sure that the hot glue is sticking. And then for long-term hold, of course, the Weldbond glue will take over. These little wood brackets were from another shelf that broke. And if you're a crafter like me, you know, you always save everything because you never know when you're going to need it again. And I'm glad I did because these were just going to be little decorative brackets, but they are going to do a good job holding up the top piece and supporting it when I start putting my decor on it. Again, Weldbond glue and a little bit of hot glue will keep this all together. I wanted some hooks or knobs, but I didn't want to have the regular drawer pulls because they're a little short and I wanted to be able to put some larger things on here. So these are little wooden spools that I got from Beebee Craft, and I have a link for them down in my description box. And I added this little half round bead on the top. I figured out where I wanted them, and then I just used a pencil to trace around them because there's already paint on here, and I want to use glue to be able to glue these right onto this wood piece. So I'm going to not put any fresh paint on this area. And if I need to, I can just touch it up after. I'm using my DIY chalk paint and my Stahlmeister pointed sash brush. I am going to be giving this 2 coats of white chalk paint, but I'm not going to do these little wooden brackets. I thought the contrast of the wood color with the white would look really beautiful. So I'm also going to do the same color on the little knobs. I'm also going to be just giving the knobs 1 coat of burnt umber. I don't even want it to be a full coverage coat. I just want it to look like they've been stained so they match up with the little brackets. I've got them sitting on some bamboo skewers on this foam piece, and that just makes it so much easier to be able to get all the way around without having to get my fingers all full of brown paint. I'm using no nails to attach my little knobs to the wooden shelf. I know I'm not going to be hanging anything really heavy, so this will work perfectly. If you decided that you wanted to hang something heavy on these, you could drill a hole through and use a proper knob with a screw for the back. I used one 2.5 inch screw to go through the wood right into a stud in my wall, and I know that this shelf isn't going to move at all. I've had this large glass bottle and I've been using it for decor just as it is, but I've decided to do something a little different with it. So I'm going to be using some washi tape and I'm going to be putting on a design before I spray paint it white. I'm going to go every 2 inches or so up around the side. And then I'm going to go up and down as well. So I'm just going to let the music play and you can just watch what I'm doing for a little bit. It's really not that difficult to do, but it's much easier to watch than me trying to explain it. I'm so excited to finally have spring showing up a little bit more often now. It's still quite cold here, but at least I'm able to get out into my garage and do some spray painting. I gave the jar 3 really light coats, and if there was a little bit of the glass still showing through, I was okay with that too. What I'm going to do now is just very carefully take off all of the washi tape, making sure that I don't scratch anything else. I started with my little scissors. Those didn't work, so I'm very carefully using that scoring tool from the Dollar Tree to just pull the tape and then grab it and very gently pull it off. I am really pleased with how this project turned out, and I think glass jars with different designs on them like this would be so neat to have a collection of them that you could display together. I was inspired by a lot of places online that are selling all of these really pretty sparse branches for spring, where the leaves are just starting to pop out. So they're very tiny. And instead of going to the store and finding something, I decided to just take all of the bits and pieces that I have in my stash and create it myself. So these are just some brown stems. They're plastic with the wire inside. I've got a few different pieces that I'm going to glue together to create a nice shape. I'm using these little mini eucalyptus leaves that came in a bunch. I absolutely have no idea where, probably from a dollar store. And I'm just going to start gluing them onto all of the outstretched pieces of the branches that you can see. And I'm going to be doing probably just one at a time. This is my inspiration, and this is how I wanted my little piece to look. Stems like this can be 10, 12, $15 each. And while I think they're beautiful, I don't have the budget to be able to spend that kind of money on greenery that I'm going to use maybe just for 1 or 2 seasons. Now, I tend to decorate my home forever, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to be leaving this little spring bush out probably year round, but it turned out so beautiful that I just love it, and I just want to be able to look at it all the time. The other thing that I'm doing on these branches, you saw me take the scissors and trim off a little bit. So some pieces at the top are pointed like they would have a little bud point. I'm just going to trim that off and make it flat so the leaves have more contact with the stems. Where I glued all of these extra branches onto this first stem, you can see that they're kind of sticking out and it looks a little weird. So I'm going to be using hot glue, and I'm just going to fill in some of those areas and make it look like the stem is just naturally getting larger at that point and then breaking out into separate branches. Here you can see where I have added the hot glue, and now I'm just going to take my burnt umber paint and go over it. I'm not going to give it a full coverage coat. I want it to have a little bit of texture, but it's going to blend in really nicely with the rest of the branch colors. I inserted the bottom of the branch into a piece of pool noodle and wedged it inside the very top of the jar. Then I just painted the pool noodle and any of the hot glue that was showing in the dark brown too. This is a piece of flour sack cloth, which is just from an old tea towel that I had. And I'm going to be taping it on top of this piece of black cardstock. The tape I'm using is just regular dollar store Scotch tape. It doesn't really matter what tape you use. This is what I happen to have right here on my desk. My apologies for not being able to see anything clearly. I have no idea why my camera would not focus. But what you want to make sure that you're doing is smoothing it down so you don't have any wrinkles and taping the fabric onto the cardstock all the way around. Don't leave any gaps. Don't leave any fabric that could get caught in your printer. This is the design that I printed out. I created this using some Eucalyptus black and white line art from Creative Fabrica. And then I just simply added a square or a rectangle to the bottom. I do all of these in Google Drawings, but you could definitely do them in Pages if you're using a Mac computer, or you could do them in Canva, or you could even do it in Microsoft Word. I don't have a printable for you for this one, but I do have the link to this particular graphic in my description box, and they are so amazing. I love Creative Fabrica, and I talk about it all the time. And yes, I do get a little bit of an affiliate commission whenever someone purchases. So I do appreciate your support, and make sure that you head over there, check out their site, and see what other beautiful designs they have that will help you with your crafting. I looked through my fabric stash and I found this brand new black and white buffalo check fabric. I've folded it in half and I'm just using my little heat press just to get out any of the wrinkles. I'm going to be making a pillow. So I decided to just iron everything nice and smooth, and then I'm going to start gluing the sides together and actually adding that eucalyptus graphic that I printed out on fabric right to the front. I decided to grab a piece of quilt batting. You could use any type of other white fabric. You could even double up the tea towel itself, but I wanted to have something that would make the printable look a little bit more solid color. When I first laid it over the buffalo check, you could see some of that pattern through, and I didn't want that to happen. So I'm just going to be gluing these in each corner for now, but then I'm going to glue the whole thing together, and I'm just using hot glue. If you have a sewing machine, you could do that as well. I unfolded the pillow because I didn't want any of the hot glue to go through to the bottom. And now I'm just making sure that it's centered in such a way that it looks good. So now I'm going to just use hot glue again and just glue this right onto my fabric. I have a piece of cardboard behind so it doesn't get glued to my desk. Since I have a fold on one side of the pillow already, I'm going to just glue that down, and then I'm going to create hems all the way around the other three sides. Although I am going to leave the other short side open so I can put the stuffing in. Again, hot glue is all I'm using for this, so it's a really easy and fun project to do. Once I was done with the hemming up on both sides, I added some more hot glue and just glued the two pieces wrong sides together. And that's just going to give me sort of a little edge on my pillow. I decided before I stuffed the pillow that I was going to add this fun loopy yarn trim. Now, ideally, this should have gotten glued in between each of the layers of the fabric of the pillow before I glued that together, but this was hindsight. So I'm just going to be gluing it right on top of the front portion of the pillow and just right on the edge. So just a little bit of hot glue, and I'll just go all the way around the edges. Again, I'm not going to do the area where I am going to be stuffing it. I'm going to leave that for the end. Now it's time to stuff the pillow, and I'm going to make it fairly thick. I don't want it huge. I don't want it to be this round tube, but I do want there to be enough in there that it looks really nice. So you can stuff it as little or as much as you want. Just make sure that you're very gentle when you get around to the corners and the edges, because if you're using hot glue like I am, you want to make sure you don't pull any of that open. Now I'm going to do the same thing that I did on all the other sides. I'm going to first glue up a little hem, and then I'm going to glue both the sides together, and then I'll add the trim. I enjoyed making this pillow. It was fun, and I learned a few things along the way. It's not perfect, but it'll work just great for where I want to put it in my bedroom. I am so happy with how this turned out. The corner of my bedroom is beautiful. I am in love with it. I love every single piece that I put together with it. And I hope you love it too, and you got some inspiration to do something a little fresh and new for spring for your home. Here's another look at how all of my projects turned out. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I truly appreciate it. If you like this video, here's a couple more that might interest you. Make sure you do all the things. Hit that subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell. See you soon.